Morning, guys. Happy Monday to you. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Today, this video for Monday, May 4th, is if you are using Fusion 360. If you're using Inventor or you are using Onshape, then you need to go to that particular video and watch that one. This video is specifically for the Fusion 360 operators here. This week we're going to start out by going into revolutions. We've done a simple extrusion and we're going to work on doing a revolution this week. You can look at it as if we were creating a donut. What we're going to do is draw an item and then revolve it around an axis. So if we were building a donut, we would draw a circle and we would draw a line under the circle and then spin that circle around the line. And what would be left is a three-dimensional solid donut shape. Okay. So I've taken the time to already open up my Fusion before I started this. So once you are open, you're going to have to come up to the design window and let's take a look here. Create a new project. Name this wheel. Hit enter on the keyboard. Okay. And I'm going to start with a sketch. I'm going to go to up here to the tool ribbon and create sketch. I'm going to click on the front pane so that it turns perpendicular to my point of view, so I can be looking straight on at it. I don't want it to be looking at an isometric angle and be writing on the side. Alright, so I'm going to start my options out by sketching a line, and I'm going to come down to the horizontal axis and I'm going to click, and then I'm just going to drag over so that I have a line placed there. I'm really not concerned about the length of the line. I'm going to change my active units by coming over here, over to my file options, and under document settings, I'm up here in the left hand corner. I'm going to click on the triangle and then I'm going to change my active units from unit type from millimeters. I'm going to come down to choose inches. I'm also going to set that as a default because that's what I'm used to working in. Click OK. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on two-point rectangle to create a rectangle for a base for a wheel that I can use in another project. So I'm clicking on that solid rectangle, coming over to the vertical center line, clicking and then moving up and to the left. I'm going to, right now we can see the height of the rectangle is highlighted. I'm going to type in 1 and I'm going to tab over and type in 0.25 to make that a 1/4 inch by 1 inch rectangle. Now I'm going to hit the enter on the keyboard. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, pan over and center this. Now the next thing that it's important for me to do is to set the diameter of the hole through the middle. So I'm going to come up to my dimension line, my dimension tool, sketch dimension, click on that, and I'm going to click on that first line I created, which was on the horizontal center line. And I'm going to click on it and then raise my mouse up to the bottom of this rectangle, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click again, and I'm going to set that to be 0.125 or 0.25 divided by 2, which is 0.125 anyways, because I'm doing half of the diameter of the hole. I want a 1/4 inch hole going through this when I'm done. So that's what I've set that to be. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round off the top of this rectangle. So it's like a wheel, a round wheel. So I want it to be round. So I'm going to come up to my tool ribbon, up to the top, and I'm going to create a center point circle. Circle, center point, and I'm going to come over to the top of this line until I get that X that showed up. That X with the triangle is showing me, or it's prompting me and asking me, do you want to click on the center of this line? Because right here is the center. I've got a center point circle, what I'm using, so it knows I need a center point, or I need a point to click to start my center. So it's finding that for me and prompting that. I'm going to click with my mouse one time, and then as I move my mouse around, this circle gets bigger and bigger. But what I want to do is I want to click on the very edge of my 2-point rectangle so that I have an equal size sphere on the top of my 2-point rectangle. And then I'm going to click there. Okay? So that's what I have. Now I'm going to come up to my Modify tools in my tool ribbon, and I'm going to click on the scissors. That's the trim tool. And that allows me to cut out certain lines and intersecting lines that are on my sketch. So I'm going to click on the scissors there. I'm going to come over. Let me zoom in on this so you can see a little better, hopefully. So I'm going to click on the bottom half. Notice only the bottom half of this circle is highlighting and turning purple. I want to get rid of that because I want a single profile when I revolve this. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click up here and remove that line. So what I have now, zoom out, is a more accurate representation there. Right now, I'm going to come over up to my tool ribbon and click on the 2-point rectangle again. I'm going to come over someplace on here in the upper quadrant of my existing sketch on the left side of it. I'm going to click once, and I'm going to come over here, click again. Now I'm going to come up and grab my sketch dimension, and I'm going to dimension this to be 0.125, which is half of the width of that rectangle. Now I'm going to click on my center point circle and the top line of my box, and I'm going to set that to be 0.1. I'm going to come down to the bottom of my rectangle then, Click on that and come down to the bottom of the outer rectangle. Click on that. Set that to be 0.1 also. Okay, again, I've got multiple profiles here. I've got the outer part of this sketch and then the inner part. What I want is I want my wheel to be notched out. So the next thing I'm going to do is come up here to the tool ribbon, click on my trim tool again, the scissors, and I'm going to trim out the left side of this rectangle. I'm going to have to click twice because there's technically 2 lines in there. Okay, so when I get to this point right here, when I have what looks like maybe a Pac-Man, Lady Pac-Man or something like that, turn to the left, I know that I'm done. What I want to do at this point is come up to the tool ribbon, choose Finish Sketch, and I'm going to come over to the cube, View Cube. I'm going to click on the house, the little blue house, so this goes into isometric view. And I'm going to come up to my tool ribbon, up to Create, and it looks like there's a quarter of a donut. That's the Revolve tool. This revolves that sketch or profile around a planar face, around a selected axis. So you can select the profile or plane, face, then the axis to revolve around it. So I'm going to click on that. Over here on the right side, I'm going to drag it over to the left, because that's where it is on Inventor, and that's where I'm used to seeing it. The window for the Revolve feature opens up, and if I choose on Profile, I can come over here, and click on my sketch, all right? Then I have to choose my axis. I could choose the bottom of my sketch. Profile. And you'll notice that now there's no hole. It's because I chose the bottom of my sketch to be the axis, not the line we drew at first. So I need to cancel that out. Click on Revolve again. Choose my profile first. Come down to my axis and then choose this line that we drew, very first thing, that line that we drew. So spinning that around there, you can now see leaves a hole in the center of that wheel for the wheel to go on an axle or for a screw to go through or a bolt or whatever. I'm going to click OK on this. Click on the Home feature. And I'm going to rotate this around to see what it looks like. Okay. So in essence, what we have done here is drawn one sketch with a line and revolved it and created a very complex wheel. We could have made this from a round, an extrusion, a fillet, an extrusion, a fillet, an extrusion, another square, extrusion, a partial extrusion subtraction from a surface. But instead of having to do all of that, we made one sketch, revolved it around an axis, and we were able to complete a complex object. Okay, so this is what I want you to do, is I want you to create this wheel. When you get all done with this, take a couple pictures with your phone or screen capture them, whatever you're going to do. Create a Google Doc that's called Wheel, and then share it with me, and that is your assignment, so that we can start to move forward, hopefully with the train project, or at least components of the train, so you can see how we would make these, especially the more difficult ones. Okay, any questions? You can always email me or Google. I've gotten a lot of help from, I've never been trained in Fusion, so I've gotten a lot of help just off of Googling Fusion questions. Any questions, though, email me and I'll see if I can get a link for you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.